just like a spark that's breaking out. Can't make a stop, can't turn back now. We know that there's no room for doubt. No, we can't turn back now. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Only just like the sunrise. You know that we gonna light it up tonight. We gonna light it up tonight. We gonna light it up just like the sunrise. We gonna light it up now.
Welcome to the HVAC Guide for Homeowners YouTube channel live show where we talk about all things HVAC that no one else is talking about. Answering your questions live, sometimes we are joined by other pros in the chat who might know answers to questions that I don't. And finally, we have breakout segments where we go over funny clips, industry news, and goofy inventions. And not only that, tonight we have a special guest. When I started making YouTube videos and this live show, my biggest goal was to give folks access to see and be a part of things that they could get nowhere else. And tonight is another great example of that. But before we bring on Salli, let's take a moment to pay the bills and thank the sponsor of this show.
Daikin Fit is so quiet, you'll definitely notice by not really noticing at all. Save space, save energy, save interruptions. Enjoy the game-changing efficiency of the Daikin Fit. It cools, dehumidifies, and heats so efficiently, it even keeps your energy bills comfortable. Daikin Fit.
Tonight's guest is the Senior Product Manager for Split Systems at Daikin, the world's leading HVAC manufacturing company. She has earned her BS in Mechanical Engineering from Texas A&M University, go Aggies, and she has multiple years of experience in plant engineering and coal and natural gas-fired power plants. Now in the HVAC industry, she notes that her favorite part of her job, besides talking to customers, is being able to help out her friends and family with their HVAC and comfort needs. She also says she's a passionate advocate for mid-career re-entry. Everyone, please welcome Salli Cobb. Let's go. They were lined up outside just cheering.
Fans, HVAC fans, yay!
HVAC fans, pun intended, right? Fans, get it? You know?
Oh yes, for sure.
So anyway, thank you for your time. Thanks for joining us. I'm always happy when we can get time with anybody from Daikin, but now I feel like we've got the person. You're the one we've been waiting for. So I don't know how you feel, but that's how I feel. So I appreciate you coming on here with us.
My pleasure.
So what's something that, just to, I don't know, kind of dive right into it, what's something most folks don't know about you or Daikin?
So basically, Daikin is a global, multi-country company, and so they're worldwide, global, very well known, especially in Asia and India and all those things. But here in North America, the split systems, we call it unitary sometimes, which means you have one outdoor, one indoor. It didn't start until 2014. So it kind of was like this huge global company, but a startup all at the same time. So it was quite a dynamic. because Daikin's bought Goodman, which most people know, but some people still don't know. So Daikin bought Goodman so they could get in the North American market in 2012, and then so the Daikin Unitary started up in 2014. Most people do know Goodman. It's very reliable, popular product, made here and right outside of Houston, Texas. So big global company. Daikin, the brand, is really shot up in the residential unitary space. And we are super proud to have the third largest factory in the United States, right here in Houston. So
very cool. I'm curious. I know after talking to some of the other folks at Daikin that, there are times when folks from the Daikin North America, I hope it's okay to call it that, Daikin, here. And then
yeah,
there's Daikin South Africa, and there's Daikin, Thailand, and Daikin Malaysia, right? All these different countries. And sometimes there might be times when y'all might converse a little bit like, hey, this is a great product, right? But
yes,
I feel like in North America, we're kind of the only ones that do what you do, right? Like unitary stuff. When you go outside of our country, I always say we like our gas guzzling cars and our ducted air conditioners here in the US, right?
yes.
Uh,
Hmm.
speak on that. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, we do have a lot of expats, especially from Japan, but we're very, very multicultural in our factory, and so they've not seen ductwork. So sometimes I have two fit systems, which is what the intro was. So sometimes I get asked to host some of the expats, and they come and look in my attic and look at my system, and so we have to really explain that and make sure that's covered because if you actually look at the Daikin Global website, it will say unitary specific to North America. So,
Oh, interesting. I've never noticed that. That would be
mhm.
pretty funny. Like if somebody from the Malaysia Daikin ever comes to DTTP and is like touring and they're like, what do you mean ducted? And you
Yeah,
got to kind of bring them over and show them. That's kind of funny.
yeah. So I follow most of the Daikin different divisions on LinkedIn. So it's super fun. It's the same logo around the world. So we've got the same pride, the same logo. We're celebrating 100 years this year. So they have our slogan in Japanese, and then it's been translated to all kinds of languages across the world. So yeah, it's real. And I have done one project with Daikin Europe, and we have an advanced team that works with them as well. So it's really awesome to be part of this huge company.
Yeah. I think if there's ever a Daikin Hawaii, only Hawaii, I want to be a part of that. If that's
That's part of Daikin North America. We have a great distributor out there. Yeah, so we definitely do a lot of business in Hawaii. Yes, for sure.
I used to work for a company that it was a property management type company, and I remember I was on a call one time and one of the guys was saying, "Yeah, we're having an HVAC problem at the property in Hawaii." And it was like 20 guys that were like, "I'll go. I'll be in line on that," so I
Yeah,
always think
I know.
about
My
that.
boss and you had Connie on. They've been to the trips for that. So, yep.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool. Let's see. I'm just reading some of the chats. Oh, okay. So Emery, who comes on our show from time to time, is also an Aggie grad. So
Well, whoop, gig
I
on.
feel, yeah, I feel outnumbered all of a sudden. Yeah,
Yeah.
Emery is here a lot on our show asking questions
Oh,
and stuff.
great,
So
great,
yeah.
great.
And
Find me
Steve,
on LinkedIn, Emery. I'll be happy to connect with you.
yeah, very cool. Um, and Steve says he's in too. He wants to go to Daikin, Hawaii if we do that.
Oh, sure, for
So
sure. Yeah, we have a lot of contractor events. Some are recruiting, some are, just like day at the park. So we get the group from Hawaii does come sometimes. They're a lot of fun.
yeah, yeah. I haven't been to too many, but I've been to a couple, and they're always a lot of fun. That Daikin knows how to do it right. That's for sure.
Oh, our events team is top notch.
Yeah,
They are amazing. They do a great job. So
yeah, they really do. They really do. Let's see. Guys, I just want to say I'm seeing some of the questions coming in. We won't be able to get to all the questions tonight, so just like I did last week, if you have any questions you definitely want answered and we don't get to it tonight, I'll try to do another show on Saturday where we do a Q&A. So just to let you guys know, we're going to try to stay on topic, and we still will take questions. If you've got questions, feel free to drop them in the chat, especially for Salli. But just realize, don't be offended if I don't get to all the questions. So let's see. What is your favorite thing about what you do?
All right, so you kind of gave it in the introduction. Number one, easy peasy. I can always answer that one, and that's helping my friends and family with their HVAC and comfort needs. My parents called me. They're in St. Louis right now, even though I'm born and raised in Houston. My parents are kind of nomads. Anyways, they called me from St. Louis and said they were having trouble with their system. So I was able to fly up there. I was overdue for a visit anyways, and worked with their contractors, sat at their kitchen table, and I put them in a fit system. Some of my friends and family around here in my neighborhood, if they have like 5 quotes, my in-laws too, I put them in a 2-stage heat pump that they needed to be in. I'm happy to help look at the quotes, whether it's Daikin and Goodman or not, which of course I prefer, but if I help anybody look at their comfort needs, and that's the number one thing. I really, really, truly, it's a great privilege and part of my job. And then secondly, I love talking to customers. So product managers, we get to speak. We're technical marketing is what we do, but we get to speak to a lot of customers of all kinds. And so I really enjoy that interaction and that feedback and all of that kind of stuff. So just getting out and talking, meeting people.
I can't imagine. So like if I was the DCP in your parents' area and then you pulled in, and then I'd be like, well, so the COP rating on this, and you'd be like, actually.
I do that. My brother was getting a new furnace, and I was like, putting him on the phone, da 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 da. And I was like, what MERV rating of filter is he getting? Da 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 da. And so I was like, okay, you can proceed. And so yeah,
That's
even
funny.
I'll do a consult, but yeah, I do that. So
that is really good.
But it's also fun because I'm there from the factory when I was working with that DCP, and I really enjoy that interaction as well. Being from the factory and seeing, I love getting out in the field. I get to travel around 1 to 2 times a month. It just depends. It's very seasonal. I really enjoy getting out and getting to see customers, especially in their own element at their offices and see what they have going on. It's awesome.
So when you do these out in the field visits, have you ever seen anything kind of crazy? Anything you can share that's been any funny stories maybe?
Well, what I had prepared for that question is that I'm on the Facebook page, which is called HVAC Hacks and Other Screw Ups.
Uh-huh.
So if you're not on that Facebook page, I would check it out. So whenever that comes along and I see a hack or a screw up, I always try to find out what the problem is before I see the comments, and that helps me as a product manager. But then I also see a lot of crazy stuff on there, like, for instance, units upside down or units like built into a deck.
Oh yeah,
a lot of things that are with the heat dissipation that are that's not being able to have. So your system outside has got to breathe, and there's been just some crazy installs and things like that on that Facebook page. It's nonstop crazy stuff. So
yeah,
and then
I
also like to read the comments, because then they're kind of honest on that page and not just So anyways, I would say that's the craziest stuff that I've seen in the field. I haven't seen anything too crazy. A lot of good. We do a lot of observations for installs too, which those are always a little bit unpredictable as well. So that's part of what we do in product management, so we can learn all the ease and serviceability and take all that for our use.
I'm just going to go ahead and throw this out there. And Melissa, I don't know if she's on here with us watching, but if you guys ever do a visit like that and it's, and it's appropriate, I understand there will be times when it just simply wouldn't be appropriate. But if it's appropriate and a chubby guy with a camera can come shoot a YouTube video, please let me know. I will jump on an airplane. That would be kind of cool.
We'll certainly do that. We definitely work with different sales and folks, because each market's a little bit different. Each product can be a little bit different, applications. So we cover it all. Actually, have a coworker right now in South Carolina doing kind of what you just said. He's doing a little video shoot right there in South Carolina right now. So yeah, we do a lot of those things, and sometimes when we do marketing projects, we'll have the professional videographers out there. So there will be an opportunity.
Yeah, very cool. Yuck. South Carolina, yuck. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm trying to get the people riled up if there's anybody from South Carolina that sees this.
I went out there last December for a voice of customer trip. We talked to a distributor and then three different contractors. So it was a great trip.
Yeah. Actually, my wife and I, we love South Carolina. We like going to Hilton Head is an island there that we like
Oh,
to go and hang out. Yeah. So it's probably, I don't know where you Texas folks go. Houston's kind of near the water anyway. So going to the beach probably isn't as big of a deal to you as it
oh
maybe.
well, okay, so this is a little off topic with HVAC, but I grew up here in Houston, so we thought Galveston was the beach, and Galveston is a great place,
Uh-huh.
but there's so many other beaches to go to and expand your horizons. So I've done all that. We go to a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
I
See,
went to Jamaica last summer for my husband's 50th birthday, so that was a great beach.
oh yeah. Well, yeah. There's, I don't, I think when you start talking about Caribbean, it's hard for Virginia and North Carolina and South Carolina to compete. But
Yeah, and then
um,
we went on a cruise into Honduras. So when I got off, the first thing I saw was a Daikin cube unit. So I was like, "Woo!" You know,
yeah, I think I saw it.
everybody
You had posted something on your LinkedIn about
posted
that.
that on my LinkedIn. Yeah, so
Yeah,
and everybody in HVAC kind of knows how that goes. But it's really fun to see your. That's another part of my job that I love is seeing my units out in the wild and um, sharing all that. So it's everywhere because I cover all of North America and Canada because everybody has HVAC needs, and so it's a great industry, and I love being able to do a variety of things and seeing the product everywhere.
yeah, very cool. I I see. I knew I'd get you off topic somehow. I was trying,
Just a little bit,
trying.
but it was HVAC at the beach.
Now you brought it back in. Yeah. I
Yeah.
will throw a little teaser out there to the folks. I have a video coming up with Jim Cahill that goes through some of the challenges like what you're talking about, how these systems are installed in the Pacific Northwest where it's kind of clammy weather, or in the southeast where it gets really hot and humid, and all these
Mhm.
different areas of the country, how these systems have to be set up differently, and how Daikin, I'm going to just tease it a little bit, Daikin has a way for contractors and homeowners to get the most out of their systems. And
Absolutely.
it's really cool. I can't wait till that video comes out, and it's coming soon. So
I'm
um,
looking forward to it.
yeah, I made it a while back, and I finally got all the final approvals, and I'm excited. It's going to be it'll be a good video. So what does a day look like for Sally
Mhm.
Cobb?
Well, I was say if I already said I like to talk. If I rattled off everything my department and I do, I would be an hour long with not even taking a breath. So I'm going to give you every day is a little bit different in product management. We do plan our days, but it can go any kind of way. So, for instance, when I met with you about prepping for this, I had to go to do a sound jury quickly, and so like the engineering will put in our rooms in our lab, they'll put a different compressor or a sound blanket or something like that, and we have to rate what the sound is. One time I even had a smell jury, so that was for coils to make sure we had that. So we do a lot of things in the lab, a lot of things in the
Smell
factory.
jury.
It, it's real. I've only done it once, but so that's why I really like working in the factory because I love going down to the line and I'm going to see what something is going to do for marketing or ease, or we work with, whatever it is. So I can go to the lab, I can go to the factory, do the showroom, and that's just when I'm at DTTP. Then we've got DTTP is Daikin Texas Technology Park, which is what I mentioned, the third largest factory in the United States here in Houston. So a day at the office can be any of those things, different meetings, do a lot of collaboration with our team. But we can also go from subject to subject. So my department also does competitive analysis. We do pricing. We do like pretty much we get to touch every department, almost every single department. And then we're on the front lines right behind sales. So we are called the hub or the CEO of the product, and so we're going to work with all different departments every day. And so it brings it all together. We look at the macro picture to the micro picture, detailed to strategy, all of the things. So it's a great position, and never do we have the same day twice. So there's always something new to do, whether we're launching a product or planning what our roadmap is going to be, and negotiating with engineering. What are our ratings? What are design conditions going to be? So our job is to make sure that the market in the field has the products that they need. And so that entails so many different tasks. And it's a lot of fun, including like speaking to customers, like I mentioned, voice of customer, going in the field, observing. We can do pretty much anything, and we do trade shows too. So we do at least one a year, and so we work the trade shows and talk. I get to talk for 8 hours, 10 hours at a time, and it always energizes me. Some people, they're drained afterwards. I'm like super energy after a trade show. So that was a long answer. That we do a little bit of everything. We're the hub of the product, and we're going to launch it all cradle to grave on our products.
So you probably know about products before they ever come out. Like, you probably know about products right now that you can't even tell me about. Is that right?
Yeah, because I set the design specifications for them. So I absolutely know what those are.
Okay, go ahead and tell us. Just tell us all the stuff that I'm not supposed to know. We won't tell anybody. Just go ahead and tell us.
Well, as everyone's probably heard, we're getting a new refrigerant. I believe this is the 4th major one in the history of refrigerants, and that's to have the lower global warming potential. The ozone has already been addressed, and so that's coming out. So we had the DOE minimum efficiencies in 2023, so we launched all of our products again. And so now we're launching all of them within 2 years, which is a pretty fast product cycle for HVAC. And then I think we'll get a break until 2029 for another major government regulation. So we are launching all of our products, and we've already announced that a long, long, long time ago that we're using R32. So I have my shirt here. Ask me about R32. So that's what you're doing. And so we've been working a lot with engineering. We've got some heat exchangers, sizes difference. We're excited about what we're going to be able to do because of the efficiency of R32, which is my shirt. We have like, I think 12 questions. So this talks about the efficiency of R32 compared to R410A. So there's been some great things that we're doing with that product. We have the specs out for our very first product, which will be multifamily. Those are already out already. So if you haven't seen them and you need them, talk to your salespeople. And then we're just, we're ready to go. So we're going to be seamlessly launching all of our R32 products as we get towards January. So the regulation, in case you all don't know, is that we can no longer produce 410A, basically the refrigerant that we have today, after 2025. And then we'll have a year to install all of that.
I wasn't expecting you to actually share anything, so I'm all kind of giddy over here. It is kind of exciting. The trend. Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I had a couple more secrets, but we'll go to when we get to this homeowners. Okay, go ahead.
Oh no. Okay. Gotcha. No, I was just going to say the transition from R22 to 410 was, this huge overlap, right? I mean, we're talking, it took almost 2 decades really. And, well, no, over 2 decades really, from beginning to end. And, seems to be a much faster transition, and it's just, I've never seen the industry like this. So many new things coming out so quickly, but in a good way, like not in a scary way, just in a, wow, this is changing. Things are getting better. On and on. I'll just want to say this, because I've done other videos. We've talked about R32. R32 is nothing new. We knew what R32 was years ago. It's actually in 410A. It's part of the blend of 410A. It just happened to be an A2L refrigerant. And so America wasn't quite ready to make that leap yet. So
We already
It's
talked
all
about
right.
all of our Daikin counterparts across the world, and they've been using R32 for years. So it's very proven, and now we collaborate with them, and we'll be bringing it to North America.
I like it. I like it. Um, I've got a question for you from the chat.
Hmm.
Living on the Edge says, "What advice would Sally give to a homeowner who knows they need a new air conditioner? It's on borrowed time."
Okay, so I have a little bit of things for homeowner tips. When you're on borrowed time, you want to have a good recommendation, a good relationship with your contractor, and then you have your home, and you're going to see what your needs are, and they should be giving you a several tiered bid. And so, with all of we call it the good, better, best bid, and a lot of options. We do recommend, if you can, if it is appropriate for your home, depending on what percentage of your home is, if you can go to variable speed, you absolutely want to look at that option. That's going to provide your superior comfort, superior energy efficiency over the whole part of your load. So definitely, your contractor will most likely be talking about variable speed anyways. But if that's in the cards for you, you're going to want to request that. Um, so I would say, just you can get more than one quote or whatever. Find somebody in the industry like me that will help you review your bids if you can, and just keep in mind. So you're gonna look at a variety of options. The other thing for homeowners is one thing that is not really at the homeowner level too much. Um, let's see. So this would be, I had some things like maybe you didn't know the secrets of HVAC with
Oh,
homeowners,
please,
all of
please
that.
do tell.
Uh,
Yes,
and well, it's more like tips. So it goes along with this topic.
sure.
So one of well, I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but the false things about air conditioning is that you're going to size on square footage. We get that question kind of a lot, not as much as we used to. That is very, very old school. There's a lot of energy efficiency codes that have been increased depending on what state you are. There's different levels of energy codes, and your state is going to adopt one of them. And so you have different insulation in your walls, your U value in your windows, whatever your insulation is, the orientation of your home, all of those things come into the play of what your home needs. And so what we call it, either a load calculation or a manual J, that is going to tell you what your air conditioner needs are. Some states require the contractors have that on file. So you as a homeowner can ask to you may not get it in your hands, but make sure that you're getting a load calculation and not just a square footage per ton. CFM per square footage is not applicable. Other things that we want to make sure of, even at the homeowner level, we have what is called an AHRI certified matchup. You can get a certificate too. So you want to make sure that your system is rated and certified. So you can ask that question as well. So the reason why we have that, and AHRI is the Air Conditioning, Heating, Refrigeration Institute. And so it's an entity that makes sure that your matchup, because remember, we call it unitary for a reason. You've got different outdoor, different indoor, and there's almost like an infinite number of matchups and possibilities. So you need to be in that directory and make sure that you are certified. And that's because us as the OEMs, we want to make sure your system is going to work properly, what the performance is going to be. So just to make a short story long, make sure your matchup is certified. There's going to be some incentives and rebates that you have to provide that certificate. And so we don't want to get questions like, this was installed, it's not a certified matchup, can you rate it? We do not endorse that whatsoever. So make sure that you have a load calculation, that you have a rated matchup, that you've got different quotes, and just really look at what your energy usage is going to be and what's going to be the best fit for your home. Ideally, you want to do this before you have an emergency in the middle of the summer, but especially if you're coming up where you think you're going to be due. So I think I answered your question. Let me see if there was something else I had. I think that was it. Those are the major things that when you want to make sure, you don't have to understand all those details, but you need to make sure that they're done and it's not just a square footage, because I kind of reviewed my own neighborhood Facebook page has a lot of air conditioning questions on it. I'm over here in the suburbs of Houston, and one of the main ones is humidity because in Houston. So if you have a system that is oversized and it's not really shutting off, it's looking for that set point, it's not. You're not going to get if it's short cycles because it meets the set point already, and so it's going to short cycle. I said that opposite. You're not going to get that humidity removal because your unit's not going to run enough, and so that's the problem of being oversized. So HVAC is not bigger is better. So you need to make sure you're sized properly.
Yeah. I liked one of the things you said at the beginning there where you said something about finding a good contractor and having a good relationship. I don't think it's something that I talk about enough on my YouTube channel. A lot of the things you're talking about, we've at least touched on it before, but that's
Mhm.
one in particular I think is more important than maybe we talk about enough. You know, if you find there's so many bad apples, right? And in any industry, right? And so when you find a good one, kind of, I'm not saying you need to, rub his back while he's fixing your AC, but you know, you also don't need to beat him up because you finally found a good one,
Yeah. So I do projects and have friends and family all over the country. I check in with my local salesperson and have them give me a recommendation. That's how I personally do it if it's not in my area. But it so even if you're paying a little more because you're going to get a great install, good attitude, clean up, it's just so worth it. So because like I said, I have two fit systems in my house, and one of the contractors that did one also does plumbing, and so when I needed a instant water heater, I absolutely used them as well. I knew they were going to have great employees and do a great job, so they got my water heater business too.
Yeah. So when I sent you the potential questions for the interview, one of those questions had a goofy invention. Did
Mhm.
you come up with one?
I thought of it. Okay, so I have three. Well, I used to have three teenagers. Now two of them are adults. And so I
Okay.
was thinking of some type of mom hack, or an
Okay.
HVAC. How could I put it together? So I came up with a device that makes kids and teens listen the first time you say something, including not to put the thermostat at 70, which I'm in my son's room today. Sometimes he'll put it at 70. And I'm like, no, 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 no. We do not need to do that. And so there is a lockout that you can program on the Daikin Fit. So he can't do that, but I hadn't done it yet. So we kind of have that solution of the temperature, but my hack and my mom hack is to make them listen the first time, because there's always that, you say mom has to say it 5 times and then they listen when you lose your mind, and then they're like, why are you losing your mind? And it's because they didn't listen the first time. So that's
I like
my
it.
my invention, is to get teens to listen.
I think there's I mean, this is probably extreme, but I know that Elon Musk has the chips that they put in people's heads now.
Oh,
Maybe that's how we get them to listen. No,
no,
no, that's
I'm just doing a mom hacks. So, no, I've got
um.
great kids, but it's a universal issue.
So I just want to touch on a couple questions, just because there have been some good questions. We're not going to be able to get to everybody, but some of them um are good. TJ asks, is a load calculation only necessary when they have newer, tighter homes? I would say no. I think that a load calculation should be done regardless, um, just
You need.
because of
Mm-hmm.
systems. And Emery even asked, why do some people do why do some people don't ma- why do some people do a manual J and rely on square foot only, or why don't they? And I would say the answer is they're either ignorant or lazy.
Yeah,
I'm just being blunt about it.
or they haven't listened to your podcast enough. So
Yeah. Yeah, it certainly needs to be done, and I believe if you're gonna get a new heating and air system, even if there was already a system there, it's a good idea chronologically, even before you get quotes, even if you've got to pay for it, get a proper load calculation done. So that way
100%.
you can compare apples to apples.
Yeah. So even
Um,
if, yeah, add-on replacement or new construction, your Manual J, the ACA certified software, it has a setting in there on what your infiltration is. You can either calculate it or put in kind of a default. So it's going to take care of whatever you're set, whatever you are. So
yeah. And then Arch was asking about 410A, and I think someone else asked a question very similar to that, to 410A. 410A is not going away overnight, guys. I mean, it's getting phased down, but if you've got a 410A system right now during this conversation and for the next decade or so, you'll be fine. I mean, I
yeah,
have friends that still have R22 systems. So
yeah. Can
just,
you put that question on the two ago? So what are we going to do with R410A?
this one.
Okay. So yeah, so homeowners that are in the process of replacing their heat pumps going to do if they need R410A in the next 10 or 15 years. Okay, so Daikin is known for its industry-leading warranty. That's not going away. That's not changing. We're going to have that warranty. We're actually going to have some uncased service coils still in our 410A. We have that project going. So we'll still have some of those service units, and we'll still be honoring that warranty. So you're going to still have that. There is the Kigali agreement where we're going to phase down some of the R410A. So the price of 410A may be going up. Well, it will be going up. It's supply and demand. But as far as equipment, you're still going to have that warranty. And so you don't need to panic and worry about that.
Yeah. I think the main theme, if we have this conversation, 10, 15 years from now, it might be a little different, but it's not going away overnight. If you've got a 410A system, you'll be fine. It's not the end of the world yet, right? Maybe that conversation might be different come, 2035, but right now we're going to be fine for years to come. So,
Yeah, but you'll be past your design life anyways. So
yeah. Let's see. What is one of the biggest misconceptions you encounter? Did you already throw that one out there, or do you still have an answer for that one?
I feel like I covered that one.
Okay, gotcha. And then how about, do you have any horror stories that you can share?
Horror stories? Oh, well, I already mentioned that. Not installing a non-certified matchup. That can be a horror story because you may have to. Sometimes it's not physically feasible because there's this thing called physics, and if it's physically not feasible, you may have to rip out a unit. So that would be what I would say is I highly recommend make sure you have a certified matchup.
I would say that AHRI is not the easiest website to navigate, but anyone can go to it. So you can go to the AHRI directory. You can look up if your system is, it will have a certificate if it is a matchup. It's probably a telltale sign if your split system is not the same brand, right? If you've got brand X outside and brand Y inside, there's a possibility that there's a high chance that it's
Well,
not.
I'm glad you brought that up because we have what's called coil only ratings for that situation. So you don't get the benefit of maybe the furnace blower. So there is a rating for that. So that coil only is definitely comes into play in that scenario. Now you'll still need the same outdoor and coil brand, but yeah, so you have a little bit of leeway there. But if you're gonna have 3 different brands, tough luck. So,
Well, and there's definitely exceptions to that rule, right? There are some brands out there that will pair with, Daikin. I think there are AHRI matchups where a Daikin will match up with one of those small duct high velocity brand units, right? So there's certainly exceptions to the rule, but again, I don't want to start throwing
yeah,
other brands out there, but
ideally you're gonna have a full system, but it depends. Like if you have just replaced your furnace and you're not ready to do that, that's where that comes into play. And then, of course, with Daikin Fit AC, we do also have the D24V gateway. So you can utilize that with the Daikin Fit AC outdoor and coil as well. So there are some alternatives, but the full system is ideal.
I'm putting the link to them up, so that way if folks do want to look their equipment
And
up, they can
yes,
do that.
look at your equipment and then your contractor. We have other tools at Daikin that really for the contractors to be able to find this information as well, different ways to do it besides the directory. Um,
Yeah, those come in handy. I've had to go down that route with our local distributor or Daikin a couple times. Um, the way HRI does it, sometimes they'll have like the first part of the model number, and then they'll have a couple stars in there because it covers a whole array. And so sometimes it's a little hard to just search that model number on their website, but um, I think you already touched on it, but there will be times where you have to have that certificate. So if you're going to apply for, say, one of the government incentives or rebates, right? You have to have, they're going to ask for that. They're going to want to know that you did install a system that was an AHRI match, So anyway, we can get off of that now.
yeah, I don't expect homeowners to. You can look it up, but you could just. It's a question to make sure that your contractor's covering you.
Yep. And, selfish plug, it's one of the services we offer on my website. So if you subscribe to my website, if you're one of the members of it, we will pull that membership. We'll do the hard work for you and find that certificate for you if it exists, obviously. So Jonathan says, how much longer will 410A be available? The AIM Act right now runs through 2036, and it's still not a complete phase out, but there are people trying to speed that up. There are certain states trying to speed that up. So who knows what that will look like over the years to come. But right now, through the year 2036,
right. It's what's called a phase down. And a lot of the times when we're giving our presentations, we'll have that graph. So 2024 was 30%, and then we're going to be hitting at 70% phase down in 2029. I'm pretty sure I'm correct. And so it's a phased out process, but so it's going to be around.
Yeah.
And we also, I do need to say that since this is brought up, that we have a group that is working on making sure that we have reclamation for 410A. So we'll have that as well. We've got a lot of resources going on, trading containers and all that kind of stuff. So that will be important for the product as well.
Yeah. I mean, the better they do at that, the better contractors do it, claiming it properly and turning it in, the more it will be around for years to come. So
yes, that's key, essential. And we have, like I said, a whole group that is working just on that. So I'll check in with them a lot as needed. So I have, if you need more information on that, you can let me know.
I like it. What is something that consumers should do more research on before purchasing a heating and air system?
More research? I think I covered that, but I would like to go ahead and give some homeowner tips to make sure you're doing the basics.
Sure.
To help your system stay. So I was going to call these the secrets of HVAC. Is it like everybody should know it, right? So
right.
If you don't know it. And number one is changing your filter on a regular basis, right? Making sure your outdoor unit is not covered in grass and grime. The outdoor unit has heat exchangers in it and it has to dissipate the heat. Or if it's a heat pump and it's got the reverse refrigeration cycle, it'll have that cool. And so let's see, I've made myself a little list to make sure I said it all. Oh, there is a secondary drain pipe that is going to be put above by a window where you can see it. So if that's dripping, you have your primary drain, which comes through your house, and then the secondary drain plug. If you see that dripping, you've got to clean out your unit. Mostly that's going to be under a secondary sink, like a half bath or a secondary bedroom bath. And let's see, I've got all of that covered. And then lastly, my last tip secret is that heat pumps don't only heat, they also cool.
I like it. Uh, replace the first. Currently, that's what's installed in my condo. I'm not sure Sally's going to have an answer for that, Philip. I do appreciate your super chat. And I can look into that more for you, but he
Oh
has
yeah.
a specific type of air handler, and what does Daikin offer that would replace that specific air handler? Is it a hydronic air handler? That would be my first question. Because I know First Company is big in hydronics, but anyway, did you want to speak on that, Salli?
Oh, I would just say email me and I will get that over to the air handler product manager.
Okay. He said it's not. Okay.
Yeah, that's one of the things we do also in product management is we field those kinds of questions. We do a lot of cross-referencing. So yeah, that is not an unusual question. I just obviously don't have it off the top of my head.
Yeah, there's a lot of variables there. So I would, just to go back to the topic at hand, Philip, it kind of there's a lot of variables there. Daikin offers more than just a couple air handlers. So if you were to say go with the fit, then you're going to get with the air handler that pairs with the fit, right? And if you're going to go with one of the other types of systems they offer, you're going to go with that. There, So I would it that's very gracious of Salli. I would also say check with your local Daikin dealer as well. They're going to be able to help you with figuring out your options there as well. So,
Right. And if there's a question that another group is going to handle, we'll pass that off. I just looked at my little prompts that I had prepared, and there was
yeah.
one owner tip that I forgot to mention.
Nope, the show's over. Have a good night, everybody.
And that is, we have amazing warranties, but you need to make sure you register within 60 days. So to get the full warranty. So either ask your contractor for the paperwork for your warranty or make sure you register that yourself. We make it super easy on our website to register. So don't forget that 60 days and make sure you are registered for your warranty.
Yeah. Philip, that's my heart for you tonight, pal. So thank you very much. I love that you touched on that, Salli, because if you've never been to Daikin's website, you guys don't. I don't want to say like, there's not there. I'm sure there's certain things that it just wouldn't make sense for a homeowner to be diving deep into, but you guys don't hide anything, right? So you make it easy for a homeowner. If their contractor didn't register that warranty, the homeowner can make sure that gets done, right? They can get that done and make sure they're good and covered for the years to come. And that's just one of the many things that I remember that when I first became a DCP, there were things that I had to have a special dealer to get into some of the other brands and to get into their websites. Whereas Daikin's pretty open with it. They want to make sure that you are taken care of and it's not hard to get to.
Yeah. And another thing, this is kind of well, it's a related. Another thing Daikin does that some other people don't is that we put our expanded ratings for our designated tested combinations right on our spec sheet. So we do have where you have to log in to get every expanded rating. This is more talk for contractors than homeowners, but still, we absolutely are transparent and have that information. We want to make it easy to use our information and products.
Yeah. Yeah. I could probably do a whole show just talking about all the little things that I couldn't get elsewhere, but I can get there. In fact, if you go to our website, newhvacguide.com, there's a whole page where you can check your own warranty for your system, regardless of the brand. And there are some brands that don't allow homeowners to check their own warranties. It drives me nuts. But with Daikin, you can.
Absolutely.
You can just punch your serial number in and it pulls right up. So anyway, let's see. I'm just looking at a couple other questions that came through. What's one piece of advice you give your own family when they're buying heating and air? Did you already cover that too?
Yeah, it's just to make sure you're going to have what the application and needs for your home. And then like for my in-laws, they needed new ductwork. You don't automatically need new ductwork, just to make sure you get a full inspection. in a full workup, not just your equipment. So
I like it.
if needed,
Um,
ductwork doesn't usually have to be replaced, but it needs to be inspected when you're doing that. So
yeah, I like it. I like it. I let's see. I've got a couple questions here. Ben says he has a DZ14. Does this unit also dehumidify? I think the general answer to that, Ben, as long as it's sized properly, all units are going to dehumidify to some level. The question becomes, does it dehumidify enough? Was it sized properly? What part of the country are you in? If you're in the desert, it doesn't matter as much as it does if you live where Salli lives or where I live. You know, I live near the water in Virginia, and it can get quite humid at times, you know. So,
I don't believe you would need extra. Now, we talk about variable speed where it's able to handle humidity a little bit better, but that doesn't mean your single stage don't dehumidify. They absolutely do. When you're sizing, there's what's called sensible latent heat. Latent heat has to do with the moisture. So every piece of equipment is sized for your dry heat and your moisture. So you're going to look at both of those things for when you're getting your unit sized, and so you should be good to go if all the things that Josh said is taken care of.
I like it. I like it. Well, we're gonna land the plane here in just a moment. We went through the questions pretty quick tonight. As I got one more question for you, Salli. So
Okay.
just hang tight. But I do want to say to everyone that's here, if you we all know there's some bad apples out there, right? If you know a good apple, if you know a good heating and air plumber or an electrician company out there, drop their name in the chat and where they're located. Let's show some love to the good ones. And you never know, you might just have somebody in your area that might see your message and you can show them more than love, right? You might actually send some business their way. So drop their name in there. Let's end with this, Salli. If you are buying a heating and air system tomorrow, you're in the market for a heating and air system, and you're not Salli Cobb. You're, Susie Jones that lives in Houston, Texas.
Okay.
What's step number one? What's step number two? Where should they start?
Okay. I do have a friend named Susie. We get mixed up all the time, so that's
Oh,
funny.
do you? Hello to Susie. Shout out to you.
And she needed a new system in her home, and so I was able to put her together with one of our Goodman contractors. She needed a Goodman unit, so first is call me. No, I'm just kidding. Don't. For Susie. So you said I'm not Sally. I'm Susie. Susie called me.
Yep.
Helped her out. It's just to take a look at what you have, kind of get an assessment, and you're going to want to do. There's a lot of different websites to look at. What we have a Daikin efficiency advisor that looks at what an inverter versus your system and how much you're going to save. That's built for homeowners as well, and so just to take a look at what your needs are. And again, don't forget about looking at a variable speed if that is in your cards.
I like it. I like it. Yeah, I think for a lot of folks too, make sure you get at least more than one quote. Get at least
Yeah,
two, because I think for a lot of folks, even if you look at what you have, a lot of folks, they don't even know what they're looking at. Like, am I
that's
looking
right.
at a good system here? Am I and get a couple opinions. Don't just jump right in with somebody just because they say the right things. We all
Absolutely. Yeah, I talked
go
about
ahead.
tiers of quotes, but more than one contractor for sure is great if you're not me. So I
Yeah,
have the bat phone, so I can directly. Anyways, yeah, more than one, get some options, all of that kind of thing. So, and then there's a lot of financing options if you need that. So
yeah, very cool. I Do you want to plug anything as we wrap up? I know that I did put Daikin Comfort's website at the beginning of our show tonight. As you think on that, I'll go ahead and plug next week's guest. If there was a Mount Rushmore of heating and air influencers, this guy would be on the Mount Rushmore. No, actually, he's the week after next. I'm so sorry. Next week's guest was the guest we were supposed to have last week, and she might be one of the most famous people in heating and air that we've ever had on our show. So I'll leave that little teaser. But the guest after her, I'm really excited about. So I'm excited about both, and I'm excited about you. I'm excited about all of them. It's crazy. I think folks at Daikin have always been super gracious with their time, but now that we've gotten to 100K subscribers on our channel, folks that might have said no a year ago are finally starting to say yes, and we're going to have some really cool guests moving forward because of that. So I'm excited about that. Anyway, do you want to plug anything as we wrap up?
I'm going to finish with how you started the Daikin Fit product. It's a mid-efficiency, affordable, premium inverter side discharge system that fits in all kinds of different applications, balconies, patios, homes like mine. And so it's been a pleasure working on that product for the last 5 years. It's been wildly successful for a great reason. And now we have it in the Amana and Goodman brand as well. And so it's just a great product. And I can set my humidity at 50% and it stays there. I can look at dealer services and I can track my own humidity and temperature and see my set point just stay as long as my kid doesn't put it on 70, which I can see that on the computer too. It's just a great product all around that we've been real successful for. And it's been a lot of fun working on it. So that was my first product that I launched when I came on 5 years ago.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure working on that.
I will tell you something that you probably don't know. And when that product launched, I went to a class in Richmond and you were there. You were in Little Richmond, Virginia. And I used to always make sure that I, knew everybody that was in the room. And I remember you being there. Scott Doran taught the class, and it was and that was a long time ago. So
that was before the pandemic because we were doing our road show for the product.
That's right.
Yeah, you didn't tell me that before. So it's super fun going out on launch road shows and all of that kind of stuff. We do a lot of sales training in product management and getting to work with the field tech people. We have the best product specialists. We really do have great trainers. It's just a great overall atmosphere, culture, and place to work, and product to integrate with. And we like to collaborate with our customers quite a bit. So it's just a great place.
I like it. I appreciate your time tonight. I do want to end with, we've got a guy named Arch that comes to our show all the time, and he has been requesting a specific product, and you're just the right person, I think, for him to recommend. And he really wants a fit package unit. So, I don't know what's to come, but he's in Arizona where they're crazy and they put package units on roofs out there. There are a bunch of crazy people out there. And he really wants a Daikin Fit package unit. So we'll end with that.
Okay.
I like it. Well, anyway, guys, I will be back next Tuesday night with another awesome guest. Well, I'll just end with that. So make it a great week, and we will see you then. Take care.
Thanks a lot.